Okay, new game. Trying to remember what he was playing. Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, he was playing. I'm gonna play a London. I did a little bit of preparation. He sometimes plays the London as white too. Okay. So we're gonna have. I was expecting d5, but we're gonna have Jobava London play e3. Yeah, my opponent has experience in this from the white side, so this will be interesting. I mean, generally, I think this is fun to play in rapid chess. Idea to play h5 next. If black plays h5, then idea is to bring the knight to e5. And very often white will castle queenside. Black taking a lot of time. Okay, h5. If black plays c5 too early, I'll have knight b5. I'm forcing knight a6. Very nice line. I'm not sure, like the theoretical standing, I don't think h5 is like considered to be the best move. I'm sure it's playable. Okay, black wants to play c5. Play knight e5 right away. Remember, I was doing. This is another opening which I was preparing for Svidler. And I remember looking at like c5 and just playing very kind of calmly. And if black were to go for this stuff, there's some eventual like king b1 and traps with taking on d5. c6. So I've had a very similar position before in a tournament game where I played queen f3 to g3. It's kind of appealing. Usually had this a few times in tournament games. Yeah, I don't want to waste too much time. I'm not sure if objectively this is the best move, but it's easy to play. Like someday knight e2, c3, then later f3, queen h2, g4. It could take time, but in some sense it's restrictive play. If I play queen g3, there will be a battery on the diagonal. And yeah, with c6, bishop f5. Okay, at some point I might play bishop d3. I'm debating whether to play it right away or to castle first. Castling first, maybe more flexible. Bishop d3 right away. Also just questions the bishop. Because takes, I think that structure is reasonable for white. There's bishop e4, but then I win a pawn. Let's play bishop d3. Yeah, I think for each of us, like, our light sword bishops aren't the most useful pieces. I'm not sure, like, if we trade who this benefits. Maybe me, because g4 will be less exploitable. Wow, e6. e6 is interesting. It's slightly unexpected. I assume idea is to take with the e-pawn. And queen g3 comes to mind. I mean, moves like bishop e2 also come to mind, but I'm probably not working. So I'd want to leave the bishop just stuck. So, considering queen e2 as well, idea to play f3 g4. Because queen g3 blocks the g-pawn. And queen e2, this feels like I'm wasting time. Also take away a square from my knight. But my knight, I guess, stays to support e4. Looking at c5 for black, if queen e2. But if c5, then I can take, and if takes, then d5 is weaker. Okay, queen e2. Inflexible move. I'm staying flexible, like which side to castle on. The king could be very safe on the king side. But if I end up playing f3 g4, then I want my rook on h1 to support the file. I like these positions because like it's easy to know what the plan is, like just the stuff, and then later attack. And sometimes it's still tricky in the nuances. Yeah, b5. This is one of the drawbacks of queen e2. I don't have knight e2, but I was thinking that I still play f3, and if b4, knight to d1 to f2. I could even like play a4 to provoke b4. Probably no reason. If I get in g4, I guess black could throw in the trade. But I think at some point black will have to take, strengthen the center, and hopefully I can open up at least one file on the king side. There's also idea b4 knight a4, because c5 is kind of weak. Now actually after b5 the knight's tied down, so there's no immediate knight d7. Okay, takes. Should leave my knight on e5. Yeah, nice center. Actually, yeah, b4 knight a4 looks really attractive. Because b4 knight a4 queen a5, there's b3. Idea rook c1, and like c5 is a weak square, c6 is backwards pawn. So there's actually a few approaches. Like I could play positioning on the queen side with rook c1, depending what black does too. Or I could just play really aggressively on the king side, like g4. Okay. I'm feeling better than the previous game. Previous game I was feeling good around the point after the opening, and then just misjudged. Knight d7. Hopefully I'm not misjudging this position. I mean, it's still a fight for sure. Knight d7 makes a lot of sense. So now the pawn stays defended. Black is... I don't know if black's threatening to take. Maybe? But with knight fd7, I could play g4 threatening to take. There's no knight takes. h4 still defended. f6 never a worry because knight takes g6. So let's play g4. Calculating knight takes e5. Pawn takes e5, knight d7, d4. I think that's all reasonable for me. And yeah, if black ever takes, I'm ready to play h5, queen h2, and it could be a very scary h-file attack. So a question here is, do I take with bishop? Because that also looks reasonable. Looks very reasonable. Because this is black's one main defender. If I take with bishop, there is f6. And then probably bishop g3. There's e5. I mean, both lines look pretty nice. Okay, I guess with pawn take knight d7 here, like f5 is a move, or f6. But yeah, what am I scared of? Only thing I'm scared of is f6, e5. Like bishop f4. I guess there's takes, e5. Takes, bishop g5. And then h5 ideas. Casting queenside. And f6, I also have bishop g3, so I have options. And then e5. And e5. No, I think after f6, bishop f4, black has to do something about the tension. If ever e5, I'll take and play bishop g5. And h or g file should open. Let's go for this. Knight d7, I'll play f4. Actually, wait, takes. There's d4 as well, but d4, knight e4. Okay, let's do this. Oh, I guess there's takes in b4, but then knight a4. And then d4. It could be a big mess. Ooh, takes first. That's slightly unexpected. So I have the option of taking. Then there's intermezzo, takes, h5. I mean, also just taking back looks quite reasonable. I'm trying to evaluate this because it's pretty concrete. Takes. And then h5. Rook h8 and then castle queenside. I'll have knight e2 ideas with rook dg1 ideas. Down a pawn. There's queen f6 though. Queen f6 could ruin my fun. Let's take back. Yeah, so black essentially has three options. Can take, can play f6, or do something else, like knight d7. I mean, h5 is my main kind of breakthrough idea. Thing is, in some lines, h5, g5. If takes. Knight d7, d4. Oh, maybe black gets some counterplay. I'm dreaming of some scenario where I have pawns on d4, e5, and I play g5. Then my knight comes to g4, and then h5. That could be really nice. Okay, knight d7 immediately. So I should probably take on g7. Takes on g7, king takes g7, castle queenside, b4, knight a4. It's kind of more positional. And put the king on b1. I mean, yeah, it makes sense to take. It also makes sense to castle queenside here. There's queen a5. And queen a5 immediately is kind of annoying. Because if I castle queen a5, king b1, b4, my knight's trapped. Queen d2 is a move. Queen f2 also a move. Also looking at like castling queen a5, b3. It looks weakening, but maybe logical. Oh no, that hangs a knight. What am I thinking? And b3 doesn't work. And b3 doesn't work. Can I go for this? Looks wrong though. Also e4 is a move. It's still a move. But yeah, how am I dealing with the castling queen a5? Queen c2 maybe. Queen c2. Castling queen a5. Queen c2, b4, knight a5. There's knight b6. Knight b6 is kind of annoying. Yeah, knight b6 very annoying. I mean, knight c5, I lose a pawn. Go for counterplay. I mean, what else to play? Queen d2. Why was I rejecting queen d2? Oh, maybe because rook h8. Yeah, rook h8 is coming. So maybe queen f2. Queen f2, queen a5. Or h5 right away. Actually, h5 right away is interesting. A lot of moves to consider. I allow queen g5. But then I just castle rook g1. h5, and if queen a5, then black has kind of showed his hand. I have h6. Or just queen d2. Let's play h5. Yeah, my thoughts were kind of scattered there. Like, I just want a castle and king b1, but don't think there was enough time for it. I initially was very hesitant to play h5 because queen g5 just looks like such a nice square. But yeah, I think I would just castle, put rook on g1. Like, I want the play to be focused on the king side. Also, maybe the queen is exploitable. Like someday, get the knight somewhere. But yeah, time is becoming more relevant. I think that position was a critical moment. Had to spend some time. And hopefully the moves will be natural coming up. I mean, queen a5 and queen g5 are very different. Queen a5 will prevent me from castling queenside. And then I have a choice what to do with a pawn tension. Maybe I would play queen h2. Rook h8 is a flexible move. Wondering if I can... There's actually interesting possibility to try and get away with castling. Not sure if it works though. To castle queen f2, rook f1. And then knight e2, but I lose my a pawn still. So that's actually a very similar situation. Rook h8 was probably a good move. Queen h2 is an interesting idea to play h6. But then queen g5 could be very strong. Another idea, actually very interesting idea, is a castle. Queen a5 and then h6. And sack a pawn, queen h2, king g7, rook d1, or rook h1. b4, and like queen h7, rook f1. So castling h6, there's king h7. Or castling queen a5, h6. I guess king g8. King g8 looks really ugly. I have this still. Yeah, f7 is going to be a target. Let's castle. I think it works tactically. So yeah, the counterplay revolves around f7 in the line after queen a5, h6 here. Queen f2 will come, or queen f3 will come with tempo. I'm not sure which is better, but black will need to defend. And then I have time for king b1. So c5. c5 thematic. h6 should always be considered. I could just take... I could take on b5 too. h6 takes. And queen f3 or queen f2 are the moves that come to mind. Also just taking. Gotta move a lot quicker. h6 takes. And if king b1... Maybe king b1. b4, knight a4. I know it looks slow, but I think it's useful in so many lines. But like queen g5 won't be checked. Queen a5 won't hit a2 pawn. And again, b4, I'm banking on knight a4. and then having the c5 square. It might lead to me sacking a pawn, but it should give me nice play. Like, for example, b4 here, let's say takes, queen a5, knight c5, takes. There's queen e5 in the end. And then, yeah, black should be in big trouble there. Yeah, if black ever takes, then I'll have a bit more access to the e5 square. And the idea would be knight c5 and queen e5. Because there's some distant line where if this stuff happens and black plays queen f6, then I have h6 tactics. Yeah, it's a nice thing about having the pawn just kind of staying here. Black always has to watch out for h6. And yeah, the ball's in black's court. It has to do something about c5. Rook c8 may be expected. Rook c8. Maybe I just play simple like rook f1. Okay, so I have the double d pawns. Queen g5, interesting. Yeah, the move I want to play is knight c5. Knight c5 takes, not entirely sure. And if this, there's knight f6. Maybe rook hg1. And then knight c5. Looks reasonable. It's interesting, like knight f6, rook hg1 will just be like very restrictive. And the queen's a bit stuck on g5 in that line. Also ideas of like knight c5, queen takes e6, because tactics. Or even knight c5, rook takes f7. Rook hf8, okay. Interesting. It's hard to remove the queen. I could take on, taking on g6 looks attractive. And then knight c5. And this looks very reasonable. Because if pawn takes, I win the pawn. If queen takes, I have knight c5 with pressure. And then if we trade, there's some endgames where c-pawn is passed. In other lines, I'll have queen e5 check. And now the h-file's open, so rook h5 ideas. I have knight f6, I have g5. I'm calculating knight f6, g5, knight h7. I assume there's something, like, the very least rook h6 takes and queen h2. Double threat of taking and then rook g1. So maybe knight takes e5 expected. I mean, black has to defend against the threat. If rook d8 I take and queen e5, and f6 is forced, and I just win a pawn. Oh, but then I lose a pawn. But then king a1, I have initiative. That's probably preferable for white. Because the rook is tied down to d5. And the king's just weaker than mine. So take c5, take c5. Also, I could consider take c5, queen e5 immediately. Probably not good though. I want to keep this defended. At some point even g5. Idea g5 to discourage f6, so queen e5 will be a bit more lethal. But now g5, there's this move. But then this move, okay, that's getting interesting. g5. Oh, g5 could be very strong. Have to rely on intuition now. Queen e5 first, f6. Oh, black's defending. Oh, g5 has to be played. Oh, there's rook h... No, rook h8, queen e5. Yeah, so I basically have a double threat of queen e5, which should just win on the spot, as well as like rook f6 or h6. And the idea would be, after queen takes g5, I think I just move back. And then these threats are very hard to stop. And yeah, meanwhile, everything defended. Okay, so just to calculate precisely, what is black doing there? I'm looking for other possibilities too. There's also this and then this. Idea rook h7 or rook g1. Maybe that's better. Let's start with rook h6. Does queen g5 only move? Queen h2. Queen h2, rook h8, rook g1. Oh, queen takes g1. Oh, that doesn't work. Okay, so rook h1 is a backup plan, which better work. Also rook h2. Choices. Maybe rook h2. Idea if the queen moves somewhere, I have queen g4 with nice mates. Just making sure. I have plenty of time, even though it doesn't look like it. Triple checking. Yeah, let's play rook h2. Because yeah, with rook h1, maybe there's like queen e7 or queen d8 and the king runs. Probably not though. No, there's... Never mind. Yeah, there's wins in that line too. But yeah, this is unstoppable. And I'm either mating or winning the queen or both. So yeah, the king side attack somehow crashed through. G5 was a nice move. And G5 was a key move to make things work. Yeah, interesting game. Okay, got revenge. Two interesting games. I would like to put this on... I'd like to put both games on YouTube. Maybe I'll split it up. Maybe I'll divide it, one video each. But yeah, this was different. GG.